Hi, this is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out, and Matchroom's spring schedule for 2024 has just landed in my inbox. So I thought we would give it a quick review. And if you needed further emphasizing that Saudi Arabia is the new epicenter for the boxing world, no more can be done than this spring schedule. And I'm sorry if that sounds like a knock, because there are some good fights in here, but nothing approaching something that would be considered as a pay-per-view, for example. No huge fights, no real heavyweight interest either. And I guess that's because everything that means something financially, commercially, now takes place in Saudi. And that's just not just Matchroom. That is all the major promoters outside of Boxer, of course, who haven't been involved in the Saudi stuff so far. Nevertheless, as I said, there are some gems hidden amongst this slate of fights that have been announced. And it starts on Saturday, March 23rd in Sheffield at the Utilita Arena. And the main event I actually really like is Dalton Smith.
I said to him in the ring, like, it makes our job so much easier when he produces performance and particularly finishes like that, because that's what people see. You know, that 5 seconds, that one punch knockout, you know, that does huge numbers worldwide. And you know, the special fighters will make special statements when the pressure's on. And I've said this week to a lot of the fighters on the card, but particularly Dalton, you've got to go and do it now. You know, you've got the fan base, you've got the platform, you've got the money, you've got the deal, you've got everything in front of you. Now go and deliver. And when you do, that's when it's really impressive. And you know, he's gone through that level now. We know he's above British level, but now he's proved that. For me, that was kind of a European level fight, but we like the European title as well. We got a dozen fighters at 140 that he could fight, including a few world champions.
British champion until recently, steps up, it says in the press release, against Jose Zepeda, 3-time world title challenger, very talented, probably just on the other side of the hill compared to his prime, but still a very good fight and an interesting test for Smith. I know we'd all like to see him against the likes of Harlem Eubank, Adam Azim, and so on. Someone suggested on our live show last night Pierce O'Leary in the Matchroom versus Warren event as well. But Zepeda's a really good test, should push Dalton Smith up those world rankings if he gets the victory. And also on the show, another really intriguing one where Matchroom have put together 2 of their female stars in WBO welterweight champion Sandy Ryan.
I can adjust, you know, like if Cliff tells me I need to box this way or box that way, I can do it. And yeah, but I feel like, yeah, I can start taking these girls out, take more girls out.
And 2-division world champion Terry Harper, who we most recently saw winning a belt at light middleweight, or super welterweight as it's now known. So that's an intriguing one as well. You know, although Ryan is a world champion, still very early in her career, only 8 fights. But former amateur star, Terry Harper, not much of an amateur pedigree at all, but put in the hard work, the graft, evolved, and became a 2-weight world champion. Still in her prime by the looks of it. So that's a really intriguing one for me. So that's the Sheffield show. And then we move to Las Vegas, if only, on April the 6th. And we see another super lightweight, another unbeaten super lightweight, similar to Dalton Smith in that regard, is Richardson Hitchins. Matchroom are incredibly high on him. He's got a final eliminator for the IBF title against Gustavo Daniel Lemos. And Diego Pacheco.
You know, Jack Cullen, a tough fighter, went in there, was patient, working the jab, seeing what was opening up. He had a great guard, you know, but as the rounds went in, I could see him opening up and punches started to land, and I could see it in his face. He wasn't going to last all 10 rounds after those punches started landing.
Someone who's headlined Matchroom shows recently is now trying to get yet another knockout. He's had 9 in a row already. He gets an unbeaten guy from Colorado, Sean Mccamon, who I don't really know much about, I've got to be honest. Again, I can't see this being a major dial mover out in the States, but it is much needed activity for 2 of Matchroom's biggest stars. And in Hitchins' case, biggest US young stars. And in Hitchins' case, it does take him a step closer to a world title fight. And super lightweight is a kind of an interesting, but perhaps wide open division at the moment. Then we head back to the UK on April the 13th. Manchester's AO Arena sees Jordan Gill returning from that upset victory. Never looked so good when he beat Mick Conlon.
He had some moments. I hurt him. I felt like I hurt him early in the fight. I felt like he felt my power every round. And once I dropped him in the second, it was just a matter of time before I get him again. So I had to keep my composure, keep calm, stay to the game plan, which, I strayed away a couple of times, but got a little bit sloppy a couple of times, but we got there in the end.
He goes up against Zefa Barett.
No, man, I know my level. Listen, you don't live in your life in your past, if buts and maybes, but if I didn't perfect my eardrum, I'll be a world champion now. I mean, I started pinning in the fight, my ear went, my leg went, unable to continue, so it is what it is. All you can do is take positives from that. If you know boxing, you watch the fight, it didn't knock me out. I just couldn't continue, even for 3 days after. I'm walking with a limp and I can't even hear. I shouldn't have flew home, but I did because I wanted to go home. But listen, it's not a comeback for me. It's a fight. You know what I mean? Only someone who maybe needs to build in confidence will have to have a build fight. I don't need it. What am I building for? I'm already on that level. I've already been performing. We go again, man.
Which, although it just says an exciting domestic clash at super featherweight, you would imagine this will be for something, where it's an interbelt, whether it's an eliminator, maybe not a final one, but an eliminator for a world title. Zefa, we saw, give a really good account of himself against Shavkat Rakhimov while he still had the title over in Abu Dhabi. And Jordan Gill, as I say, he's had an up and down career, but career best victory over Mccamon last time out. I think that's a really, really good fight. And then on the undercard, more female world title action as Ranna Dixon takes on Carabajal, almost got that wrong, for the vacant WBO title at 140 pounds. Ranna Dixon, trained by Anthony Crolla, of course, worked her way up steadily and seems like the right time for her to take that next step. So yeah, that's a decent show as well. We'll wait to see what happens with the rest of that undercard. And then finally, in Liverpool on April the 27th, only one fight's been announced for that show thus far, but it's an anticipated rematch between amateur superstar and, until recently, unbeaten pro super bantamweight Peter McGrail from Liverpool, of course. He gets an immediate return with Jero OQuinn of Detroit, who shockingly wiped him out not too long ago. McGrail was winning by all accounts on all cards, seen miles ahead, and then in the fifth round just got taken out with a hellacious right hand. So I'd like to have seen a bit more. If you're announcing a slate of shows, 4 in a row, I'd like to have seen a bit more about that Liverpool show rather than just one fight. It's the only one out of the 4 when only one fight has been mentioned, but I'm sure more will be revealed in due course. As I said earlier, it is very much domestic interest, the show in America notwithstanding. That's interest in the American domestic scene rising slowly towards the world title level. And the same with the UK shows. You're looking at, they're like next-gen shows, I suppose, or maybe next-gen plus, but they're not anywhere near the quality we've come to expect from the shows recently in Saudi Arabia. And maybe we shouldn't be surprised about that. But yeah, still plenty to enjoy on there. But please let us know in the comments below what you think. What's the pick of all these fights that have been announced? What do you think of the slate as a whole? Let us know your thoughts and we will respond to some of those. And give us a like and a subscribe while you're there. Thanks very much.